So we're seeing some really cool stuff here. Essentially what we've done is we've built a layout that's going to accommodate an ideal size, don't forget, as set by Flexbasis, don't forget, but that will also accommodate larger monitors or larger browser windows, and it will also adjust and accommodate smaller browser windows. That's what these three CSS properties are all about. And everything that we've seen here makes building responsive layouts extremely easy. As you can well see, there's no media queries, there's no floats going on, there's no adding up of widths. Recall with floats, the total width of our layout always had to add up to 100%. In the example that we're seeing here, the ideal layout was built with pixels, as we, again, see with Flexbasis being set here. And I just arbitrarily used 300 pixels for each of these guys. You could set whatever values you want. The other thing I want to mention is I used the unit measurement of pixels. You could use rems, you could use percent, whatever you want, right? So we have lots and lots of flexibility here. Now, in this exercise, what we'll do is we'll put the whole thing together using some shorthand code, the Flex shorthand property to be specific, which is shorthand code for the three Flex properties that we've been using: Flexbasis, FlexGrow, and FlexShrink, and it is recommended that you use shortcode. Okay, so what I'm going to do here over inside my coding application here is, to get us started anyway, is what I'll do is I'll type out the shorthand code for you. And I'm just going to zoom in here a little bit on my code so you can see this a little bit more clearly. And if you are jotting notes, you'll want to jot this down. The shorthand code begins with flex like this, okay? Followed by a full colon and a space. And then the first value that we set is going to be FlexGrow. Okay. Again, I'm just sort of writing this out for you so you can see exactly how all this is going to fit together. Okay. So the first value is going to be FlexGrow. After that guy, we're going to have FlexShrink. Okay. And then the third value, of course, last but not least, is going to be our Flexbasis. Okay. So for instance, we may wind up with something like this: flex, full colon, space, and we may have a FlexGrow value of perhaps 5. We may have a FlexShrink value of perhaps 1, and a Flexbasis value of perhaps 600 pixels, something like this. Okay, so this would be an example of some shortcode for, once again, Flexbasis, FlexGrow, and FlexShrink. Okay, so before we actually go and apply this, I want to mention one more thing, just while it comes to mind here: the default. So the default shorthand code that's going to be used inside of our code, inside of our layout, looks like this. It's going to be flex, 0, 1, and auto. Okay, so by default, FlexGrow, the default FlexGrow value is 0. The default FlexShrink value is 1, and the default Flexbasis value or property is auto. Okay, so let's go and actually use this inside of our code and begin using some shorthand code for our CSS. Okay, so I'm going to start off with child 1 here. What I'm going to do with child 1 is I'm going to go and toast Flexbasis, FlexGrow, and FlexShrink. I'll grab all this stuff and delete it. And instead, I'll replace it with the following: flex, full colon, space, 1, that's our FlexGrow, followed by a space, and another one, that's our FlexShrink, and then followed by a space and 300 pixels, that's our Flexbasis. Okay, so there's the actual shorthand inside of our live CSS here, or our working CSS, really, I should say. So that's child 1. Child 2, let's go and set this guy up. Once again, I'll grab his Flexbasis, FlexGrow, and FlexShrink properties and toast them and replace them with some shorthand here. We're going to go flex, full colon, space. It's going to be 10, 5, and you guessed it, 300 pixels, like so. Okay? So that's the second guy, child number 2. Now, child number 3 is going to be the same as child number 1. So I'm just going to go and copy his flex shorthand and go and replace the full Flexbasis, FlexGrow, and FlexShrink properties like so. Okay. Now, when I save my code here and head back to the browser, we get no change. Nothing changes here, which is actually a good thing because we're getting the exact same result with some shorthand that we previously got with, let's call it longhand, the 3 full properties. Okay, so there you go. There's some shorthand code for you. Last but not least, before we close out here, I want to mention one thing really quickly here. Sometimes, I'll use child 2 for this quick example here. Sometimes what you'll see is the flex shorthand, but it won't have 3 properties or values, really, I should say, sorry. It just has 1. It looks like this, flex 1, just like that. What does that mean? Well, what that means is it's still shorthand, obviously, and what it means is flex grow is set to 1. Okay, flex shrink isn't declared, so it defaults to 1. And flex basis isn't declared, so it defaults to 0 or auto. Okay? And again, hopefully you jotted down some of the structure for this as we went along here. You'll know exactly what I'm talking about. So there you go. I just wanted to mention this really quickly because sometimes you do see this. I'll do an undo and save up my work, and we're ready to move on. And next up, we have something that I think you're really going to like, nesting child flex items. Let's go and check it out. It's pretty powerful stuff.